Hello, everyone. My name is Natasha Cox, formerly known as Braids by Tasha. I'm an international master hair braider. Along my side is Letha Jane. Hey, she's an educator, a master cosmetologist, and a hair loss specialist. So Letha J and I have been talking about the epidemic of hair loss in our community.
Yes.
So what do you think about what's going on with all of this hair loss in our community, Letha?
A lot of it, you have to think over 30 million women are experiencing hair loss. A lot of the women are experiencing hair loss due to, of course, medical issues going on, menopause, maybe different medications we have to take, trauma, you experience hair loss. But there's a large epidemic here, I can say in South Florida now moving back.
Okay.
That's more based on bad practices why women are losing their hair, especially in the African American community. But in all, it's about 30 million women.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see it a lot, and most of the time, my clients, me being a protective hairstylist, I always recommend that I do a private consultation with my client, and I do see a lot of hair loss.
Wow.
And a lot of time, it's like I notice that this affect our self-esteem, and I notice that so many stylists is covering it up instead of exposing it. And I felt it was so important for me to, discuss it this morning with Letha. Like, how can we help each other, and see what's actually going on with this issue?
Absolutely. I think that's wonderful. Natasha and I, we've known each other since high school, and it's just such a blessing to have somebody in the industry that you can share issues like this that we see every day. And one of the things that I see a lot of, that I think a lot of hairstylists are lucky to be able to do, and Tasha is able to do, that they're able to post pictures of their phenomenal work that they do all the time. However, in my industry, I receive more of the clients that have already lost their hair. They've been to doctors, they've told them pretty much that this is a done deal, and then I have to go ahead and give them hair systems and so on and so forth. So you're so correct when you talk about the self-esteem, and a lot of times we can tell, I don't know if you pay attention, but we can tell when how a client's life is going just by the way their hair is, how they're covering up things and whatnot. And one of the things that we have to learn is that the beauty has to start within. And it's easy to say, it's like, oh, you're beautiful inside. I'm not meaning that, but it's so many issues that are going on in the inside that it shows in our outer appearance. So
I totally agree. And one thing I also noticed, that so many people, they're so busy with covering it up instead of trying to resolve what's the problem.
Yeah.
I get a lot of clients, they have severe different cases of alopecia, and they want me to cover it up with certain braiding techniques, and I refuse to do it because I just feel like it is so important to approach the problem, because as a braider, you have to be so careful how you work around that, because if you apply extra tension on such a sensitive area, then it become more of a severe cause. What do you think about that?
Well, I, of course, used to work for Hair Club for men, and of course, like I said before, I deal with a lot of clients now. When you're talking about alopecia, that is an autoimmune disease. It's not something that can be prevented. So you may have a client that may have alopecia areata, maybe that's different spots in the head, and depending on what the doctor says, that can tell you whether or not how you care for the hair. It's like the doctor gives you the diagnosis, and then you go ahead and execute and give the client what they need, right?
Correct.
But when you're talking about alopecia, there's several different kinds. You have alopecia totalis, where the client just loses their hair. It just everything comes off. Then you have everything comes off. You have your eyebrows, everything removed. And sometimes it comes back, and then they'll be fine for a few years, and then all of the hair leaves again. So in those situations, I think it just depends, And the best thing that I always tell my clients is that seek a doctor, tell me what they say, bring me the paperwork, get all the things you need to get, the culture, the biopsy, whatever it is, to see what the issue is. And so I know you kind of deal with that a lot as well, right?
I do.
Are they willing to come?
Well, yes, they are willing to. Well, most of them, they're not really going to the doctor or anything like that. They just want a quick resolution. They want to cover up, and I refuse to work on any a client that has like severe issues, because I just feel like me braiding it up and covering it up is not resolving the problem.
Absolutely. And you're an excellent hairstylist, because one of the things we see now, especially in the industry, is like you see this new hairstyle and it's like, I want that. But it's okay, and it's not that you cannot get the hairstyle. The important thing is to find a hairstylist that's able to execute what you're asking for. However, when you decide to change up or when you want to wash your hair, you're not worried that your hair will come out. And so I think it's really good when you tell them like, hey, this here is going to cause more harm to your hair.
Correct.
These are the steps that we need to do that. And especially here in South Florida, you know how it is. And it's not just South Florida. I'm sure it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
We have excellent hairstylists, and then we have the kitchen hairstylists where they're practicing at home, or they're YouTubing and they're getting ideas. And you may have the greatest hair. Your hair may look wonderful for a couple of days, but when you wash that hair, or when you start seeing that hair falling out, and you're like, you know what, it thinned a little bit, I'm just not going to get that hairstyle. And you find another hairstyle. What eventually happens, the thinning turns from temporary hair loss to permanent. And so I think that's more so what you're talking about. And that's why it's great that you say, hey, go to a doctor so we can kind of do what we need to do.
Because you know what, it's so much just deeper than just losing hair. Because the one thing that hair is attached to is our self-esteem.
Yes.
And if we don't feel good about ourselves, then we can't progress our lifestyle. It hinder every part of our lifestyle. So, you want to be very cautious about your stylist and the things that you're using on your hair, and you just want to just attach, that main issue instead of always trying to find a way to fix it and cover it up. Make sure that you're working with a professional stylist or a professional braider, someone that understands your personal need.
Yeah. Just hearing you say that, I was thinking about maybe we can talk about some scenarios, because I know you keep saying that they want to cover it up. Can you give me a scenario of a client that you can see that clearly has self-esteem issues, and you're telling them what to do, how to get to that point, but they're still like defying it and like, forget it,
I mean, I've seen clients that wanted their hair braided and like totally lost, like from the crown of their head all the way to the forehead.
Wow.
There's totally loss of hair. And and they're like, Tasha, is this something that you can do? Can you braid this up? Can you cover it up? And it's you clearly could see that there's no way of covering this up, and you can see that it's actually it's bothering that individual's self-esteem, because their confidence, they talk low. It's like you could tell they don't feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, I'm smelling. I see Jerome. Hey, Jerome, Angel Wilson's son. Hey, baby.
Hey, Jerome.
Okay.
So practice is so important, and as stylists, we have to take responsible and say sometimes to some of these clients, like, no, this is not something that I can do, and it's not okay. I don't want to cover this problem up. I want you to actually look into it and do what you really need to do about it.
Yeah, I can think of hundreds of scenarios. One of the things that I see every day with a client that may come to me and they've heard about my work or whatever, they'll say, hey, this is where I'm at, and by the time they're showing me their hair, I'm like, oh my God, But a lot of times they'll talk to me and they brought so many products. They YouTube, they have so much supplements. They listen to so many different things. It's like, oh, this will grow my hair, and this, So, and we're all victims of it, because I haven't did it when it comes to hair, but if I got a little pain somewhere, I'll Google it. So, I get it. However, by the time you get to us and you say, hey, I brought this product. Oh, I heard, this oil right here is really good. What happens is that you wasted hundreds of dollars. You don't want to go to a dermatologist, because when you hear go to a dermatologist or go to a trichologist, it's like, oh my God, what does that cost? I can guarantee you it costs much less than what you're spending at these beauty supply stores and CVS's trying to figure out what's going on with your hair. When you can simply go in and have someone do a biopsy, a little hard, on your scalp, but what they can do is tell you what's going on. Sometimes you're buying all these products when you simply just need a prescription shampoo, or maybe it's the medication you're taking. A lot of times the clients have high blood pressure, especially in the Black community, and they're taking medication, and I've heard it over and over. It's coming out. It's coming out. Yeah, just go back to the doctor. Say, hey, my hair is coming out. Can we change the medication? They have so many different high blood medications that can fit your profile. So these are things that you can do beforehand, before going inside your pockets, and spending so much. And now by the time you're like, oh my gosh, this isn't working, I don't even have the means to go into a doctor, and now I'm afraid. This is where the self-esteem comes in. This is where the shame comes in, because if everybody really knew what I look like under here, and I could tell you a red flag, I see it all the time. If I see a friend or somebody that I know, and every time all they have is sewing, and you never see their hair ever, it's kind of indication something is going on up under there. So, that's just my thoughts.
And these products, these over-the-counter products, these different, because natural is the popular thing. And then sometimes, everybody is running and it's causing buildup, and it makes the problem even more severe. We're professionals, so it's best that you get your advice from your professional stylist, because that's what we study. That's what we're here for, to help you find the best solution for your hair and the best products.
Yeah, who is this? We're going to answer some questions. Sure. Someone says, hi ladies, Tasha Byers, what would you do to help your clients? Well, the first thing is, it depends on what that client need is. When we talk about bad practices, the first thing we would do is tell you to stop doing whatever you're doing, because obviously that's not working. That's the first step. The second step we would do is, like we said, and we've been talking through it, is that to please see a dermatologist, a trichologist. We are hairstylists, we are artists, we're very creative, we can camouflage anything, but it still doesn't take away from you being able to stop you from losing your hair.
And trust your stylist.
Absolutely.
Your stylist, she's that's her job, Trust her, because she can help you understand it and tell you what you need to reduce some of these issues that we have at hand.
So, and it says, so she asked one more question. She said, any suggestions on what products to use or what to do to regain hair growth? Again, that's going to depend on, we're not doctors. We may have, it's certain things that they have out here. I'm not denying that that product may be able to help your hair grow. A lot of products that have minoxidil in it is something that is a lot of dermatologists suggest that you use when it comes to you losing your hair. However, I don't recommend things until I always tell the client, you have to see your dermatologist or trichologist. That's just my thing, because when I have suggested other things, I've suggested Rogaine to a client. However, that client didn't necessarily need that. So that's where I step out and stay in my lane as a hairstylist and execute what needs to be done, and allow that doctor to tell you what's necessary.
Okay, because at the end of the day, we are professional stylists.
Absolutely.
We are trained to style your hair. We're not the medical doctors, and we can't give you the answers for those, but we just want to just expose the situation and say that we see it so often, and there's a way around it, and let's talk about it, because no one is really talking about it. Everybody is just covering it up. And let's just stop covering it up, and because like I said, it affects more than just your image, but it's attached to your self-esteem.
Me being in the hair loss industry, I have clients that have, I can tell you about one particular client. I always talk about this story, but that was the moment for me that I knew how important it was for me to be in the hair loss and the hair loss prevention. was this young lady. She was older than probably about 32, and she was beautiful. And I was actually at that time working for Hair Club. This is a few years back, and her hair was actually really long. I was like, what is she here for? And in Hair Club, we apply hair systems to clients. These are clients that will not be regrowing their hair back. They've been to doctors, they said that's done, and they're not candidates to have surgery done to replace hair as well. And so long story short, she needed a topper for the middle part of her head. And I applied it on, and she was a beautiful girl, and we just had a lovely conversation. One of the first things I remember her saying is, don't turn me around to look at the camera. Like, I mean, not the camera, I'm saying the mirror. Keep the mirror away from me. That was massive. I was like, whoa, because she's gorgeous. But the hair loss of trauma was major, where she lost the hair because she was in a car accident and she was allergic to the anesthesia. So it took her hair out permanently, okay? So only in that particular part, which is crazy. But she understood her hair was her glory. She was, maybe in her lifestyle, and I listened to her talk, she loved the fact that her husband loved her hair. And so here she is, this woman, never expected to lose all of her hair at the top of her head. She got up out of the chair and she said, I would rather have lost my arm, which I did, than to lose my hair. So she lost her arm, but it wasn't as effective. Yeah, it didn't affect her as much as losing her hair. And so it's a lot of women that are walking around that you talk about when they say self-esteem, and they're doing more and more damage. Some of you, and when I say this, by the time you get to me, I already know what's going on. But when you're dealing with Tasha or other hairstylists, professional hairstylists, that understand that, okay, yeah, you're going to have a fabulous cut, you're going to have a fabulous color, but let's make sure these things are in place, because I see a little thinning. When you have those hairstylists that care, then they're going to direct you to the right place.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So I just wanted to talk about like she keeps talking about, the emotional part, because we don't deal with that. And in the hair loss industry, for women, it's the secret society. We don't talk about it.
Correct.
We cover it up. We cover it up with the closures. We cover it up with the quick weaves,
the braids,
the lace fronts, you know, the wigs. And it's okay. It's nothing wrong. I'm wearing hair extensions right now. It's okay to wear extensions, but it's the practice behind it. I make sure I have a hairstylist that understands that, hey, my hair is more important than anything else in the world to me, and I want to grow old and have a full head of hair. And so she does a wonderful job of doing that. Shantae Caldwell, hey, thank you so much. So yeah, that's what's really important.
And we just wanted to, bring this to you guys, and we just want to share it with you, because like I said, me and Letha, we always having conversation about this, and I said, hey, let's talk about it, because no one is talking about it. So we're looking to hear from you and your response, and maybe we could talk more about it, and I could, we'll come to you and talk about it as much as it's needed, and address the questions that you need, and try to give you the best answers that we can give you.
I have a question for you. What do you do? Because I'm curious, because I don't do anything in the braids, and Tasha's, I just love her work, just admire you.
Okay.
What do you do when you have a client that has? What do you do? Like, what do you do after you put the braids in? Do you tell them, like, they have to wash their hair? Like, how does that process go for you?
Well, hair maintenance is very important. What I do once my clients, get their braids put in, I tell them that it's, you have to maintenance your hair. So I let them know that you have to, you have to wash your hair, because a lot of people feel like you can't wash braids. No, that is bad practice. Yes, you can wash your hair, and moisturizing the hair is very important. And I tell my client, hey, you need to keep your hair moisturized at least twice a week.
Wow.
Because the thing is that, when you remove your braids, you also want to have beautiful hair. So you have to also implement these things while you're wearing your braids. You have to wash it and do leave-in hair conditioners. and take care of your hair just as if it was your own natural flowing hair without the extension that's put in, because that's very important, because at the end of the day we all want to have beautiful hair once we remove these protective styles or these weaves. You know, we want to feel good about ourselves, because we have to look in the mirror and look at ourselves every day.
I love that, and what I was going to touch on that, that's really good when you talk about the moisture, because the reason why out of all the race of people we have the most sensitive hair is that if you understand African American hair, people of color, when our hair grows, it's like a tight coil. So we struggle, we don't get as much moisture to where we need it, where it's needed, which is, you know, in the hair follicle, like get in there and so on and so forth. And so when Tasha says, you know, the hair needs moisture, that's another good example of a great hairstylist, is that she understands that our hair needs moisture. And that's why it's a lot of bad practices. If you are constantly pump it up, spray on your hair and getting that sleek look, you can get the sleek look without having that hard
even
hair
that edge. Oh my God. You know, a
Oh.
lot of people love to use that edge. It capes up your hair, and what does,
edge? What are you talking
like
about?
edge tamers.
The edge tamer? You
The
think
edge
that's
tamer.
bad?
Well, when you're not washing it out, when you're constantly,
Ooh.
it causes buildup. So when you're
Yeah.
constantly applying it to get smooth edges, and you're not washing it out, it causes buildup. And what happened? Your hair breaks.
Oh my God. Now, I'm glad you talk about that. Washing. That's another major thing. We can wash our hair. That's like when I have my clients, not my clients, I have really great clients. They wash their hair. But for some reason, a lot of women don't like to wash their hair.
Especially ones that wear braids. I'm sorry, but especially ones that wear braids. You know, we've been told that, you know, don't wash your braids, it's going to mess it up. No, that's bad practice. You have to keep it clean.
I mean, if you're in a relationship, I know I'm getting personal. I mean, how do you lay down and your hair haven't been washed in weeks? Like, you don't think that that your partner can smell that?
I think most people they're worried about maintenance and it, making sure that it still look good. They feel like if you wash it, then you're going to lose the shape of it, or it's no longer going to look good. And that's how you know that you're with a professional braider, because you can still wash those braids and it will still look just as fresh and new as it just got done.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that, because I've had, you know, I can understand even in the hair loss world when people are afraid, because they're afraid that the system is going to lift, and they don't want people to know that they're actually wearing one. So I can get that. But for the hair extension people that braid their hair up and all that stuff, it is, and I'm telling you, it's not healthy at all.
No.
It's not healthy. You should be washing your hair. Like it's important.
It really is.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap it up today. And
Yeah.
we're going to, you know, try to come to as much as possible and discuss these questions. And maybe you could ask us these questions, email us, give them your information.
Absolutely. I work, when I'm not traveling, I work at the Look for Elegance Hair Salon in Davie, Florida. It's 3325 South University Drive. I'm right across the street from Nova College. Also, if you have any questions, and I know you don't want everybody to know what's going on, we both understand that. You can always email me at Leethra Moore, L-E-E-T as in Tom, H as in Harry, R-A, Moore, M-O-O-R-E, at yahoo.com. Or you can go to my site, lethrajmoore.com as well.
Okay, well, just thank you. And me, I work at Colette Eden. Hey, Colette. She's an awesome stylist at Colette Eden. I mean, when it comes to hair care, Colette Eden, I mean, she is great. She is one of stylists that practice great practice when it comes to doing hair. But you can find me there, Colette Eden. We're located in Pembroke Pines, Florida. Also, as well, you can email me at braidsbytasha786@gmail.com. Well, it was great talking to you guys.
Yes, I really enjoyed it.
We'll see you later.
Tasha.